Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. The TRHD acknowledges that we connect with many First Nations communities across our vast regional district, and today we are located on the Tecumseh-Secwepemc territory, situated with the unceded ancestral lands of the Secwepemc Nation. The TRHD appreciates the partnership that we have with Tecumseh-Secwepemc and respect the territory and land on which we gather today. Any additions or deletions from the agenda today? Seeing none, can I have an approval of the agenda? Moved by Director Grenier, second by Director Karpuk. All in favor? Thank you. Before us, we have minutes from September 5th. There's a recommendation. Moved by Councilor Newstater, second by Councilor Sarai. All in favor? Thank you. And we will move right into 5.1, the 25-29 Provisional 5-year plan.
Thank you, Chair, through to the board. I'm just going to have Justin put up my presentation. Do you have the clicker? Thank you. It feels like we were doing this not too long ago. I don't know, it's crept up really quickly this year. The TNRD, it incorporates the TNRD boundaries plus Lillooet and surrounding areas. I think that's just important to note. It's a change or a difference between the TNRD board and this board. The mandate is generally to establish, acquire, construct, enlarge, operate, and maintain hospitals and hospital facilities, grant need for establishment, acquisition, reconstruction, enlargement, operation, maintenance of hospital and facilities. And the current cost share we're at right now is 37%, approved by the board last year. And that is different than the 40% that IH requests. Just important to note that they request the 40%, the board made the decision to contribute 37%. The tax requisition increase that the board adopted last year was a 5% increase year over year to kind of address the large capital projects that have been coming to us in regards to the patient care tower that was complete, then the cancer care project that is on here as well, and we'll get into that a little bit more, and to ensure that we are prepared to contribute towards future capital if there is patient care tower phase 3, and making sure that there's money in the reserves to contribute to that as well as borrowing. The tax requisitions from 2024 were 17.2 million, and we're looking at 18 million in 2025. We have revenue that comes in, the transfers from reserves, of course. When we need, we bring the money in there to offset the, oh my goodness, the patient care tower. There's 2 payments left in that. And the debenture revenue in 2025 is revenue over the 5-year term. If you looked at the 5-year plan, you'd see that coming in each year, and we're bringing it in as we need it to make sure that we're taking advantage of reducing that interest payment as much as we can over the 5 years. The other revenue historically has only been budgeted at 100,000, but knowing how much money we have in the reserve and how much we're actually getting from interest revenue, I've decided to incorporate more of an actual outlook calculation conservatively for interest into the future, matching what's actually coming in. In the case that we only budget 100,000, if we get $1 million, really that just adds to the surplus that we get. So it's not a large concern, but I thought that historically, if we're bringing in a lot more than $100,000 per year, why not project that out a little bit better? The operating surplus really is the leftover amounts of projects that we have not contributed to from the previous year. So in 2024, right now, we've paid out very minimally to IH for the projects that they've requested. So the outstanding amounts get carried forward to the next year. Total revenue right now of 40 million. I can't 49 million. I can't read that. So the total expenditures right now, we have debt, principal, and interest. And you can see it's slightly going up in 2025. We have the cancer care project estimated on there. The payments that they have requested in the payment schedule over the first 2 years. Patient care tower construction project wrapping up. We have 1.4 million in 2025 and I think 700,000 in 2026 to end that, those payments there. We have the new capital requests right now of $7.3 million. And the carry forward, this is where I said there's a large amount from last year still not paid out. If by the end of the year, more of that gets paid out, that number there will reduce. Right now it's 17.5 million. And we have continually each year this financing flexibility of 900,000 and 100,000, which I have yet to use. We haven't spent it to this point, but in the case where we don't get requisition funds in time to expend money, so that we do not have to do a borrowing bylaw quickly, that's just carried on the books. We also had operating expenditures, and that's where the board's indemnity amounts come out. There's a little bit of doctor recruitment funding in there and a small payment for administration support. And in addition, in 2024, we had the ad campaign in there. So right now in 24, that operating has gone back down to 90,000. By the end of the year, we'll look at year-to-date actuals and make sure that we're coming in on budget there. I've included in the budget report, this is the amount kept in the operating reserve, and that's really to offset that $1 million in short-term borrowing. And it stays the same year over year. You can see here the capital reserve contribution schedule. And what I think is probably important is that after a 5-year period, I would like to get back to contributing to the capital reserve more consistently each year. Right now, that's been a little bit hard, and I've drawn down as much as I could to reduce the amount of borrowing we're doing for the cancer care project, because I think as much as I can reduce that debt and interest principal over the term of the loan is probably the most beneficial to our constituents to keep that tax rate lower. I've included the patient care tower debt schedule and the cancer care project debt schedule right now. This is for the first set of payment. To go to, and right now, giving you the impact of the tax and the assessments is a little preliminary because we do not have the new assessment values from BC Assessment. They won't come in the first completed roll till the end of December, and then we will not get the revised roll till March, which really is going to dictate what those assessments change. And remember, just like the TNRD, the assessments come in, everybody's portion or share is based on their assessment value. And differing from the TNRD, we have a lot more rural assessment that comes into the hospital district tax calculation. So just wanted to give you an example of how it's calculated out per class. So we have the $18 million requisition. We take all the assessment values that are based on the 2024 numbers of revised assessment. That comes in to here, it's broken down and into converted values. And then there's a share based on residential assessment value utility. And this will be the same per municipality and EA. So if you were to look at your areas, you're going to have those different classes. But this just gives you an example how this is broken down and how I estimate right now based on the residential assessment value, what that impact will be. So that 5% increase year over year is estimated right now per $100,000 to be a $10 increase per year. Right now, I've put together a preliminary document that shows how much each of the different areas would pay. And this is where you can see the municipalities up top, and then you see the rural area assessments down below. And what this does is it just tells each of those areas what they paid last year, what the adjustment is due to the change in assessment values, and then the estimated net requisition that they'll receive this year based on our new amounts. But please remember, as soon as I get the new assessment values, the overall number will change. So it's to give an idea of what it's going to look like, but it's not exact at this time. I've also included in your budget package the loan and interest payment schedules. And there is the 5-year outlook. And just a reminder that based on the time that we have, I don't spend a lot of time going through the 5-year plan with the board. And if the board would like me to take more time through the 5 years, really for this budget, what I've done is I've reflected the overall 5-year schedule that IH has given me for the capital projects. I've worked in the interest that I've estimated for the loan payments. And it's fairly status quo on what's happening here. Just trying to make sure I do a little bit of an analysis to make sure that the revenue that we're collecting each year covers off the ongoing yearly costs, plus what we predict in capital expenditures. And then the other thing I'm thinking about too is because there is such large capital projects that when we're requested, we're contributing, anywhere from 20 million to 40 million dollars for these large projects. What kind of money can keep in the reserve to make sure that I'm offsetting the amount of long-term debt I'm incurring? So trying to balance that out, I've tried to put a balanced 5-year plan approach in front of you. Again, consistent what I've put together last year. And with some of the excess interest revenue that we have brought in, I was able to decrease the total amount of borrowing that I'm estimating for the cancer care project at this time. So I will stop there, see if there's any questions in regards to any of the information I've put forward.
Thank you, CFO Fox. Do you have any questions? Yeah, I don't see a lot of discussion, which is fine. The only thing I'll take note of is in there was written that we will contribute our 37% as opposed to the requested 40% from IH. And as far as I understand right now and how we will continue to move forward is until further direction from the board is that we will continue to go in at 37% and not the 40 as requested as per funding request from Interior Health, which they are aware. There's a continual ask for 40%, but our number, again, unless it changes from this board, will stay at 37% going forward. So, all right, we have a recommendation moved by Councillor Bass, seconded by Councillor Jay Laird. Thank you, or Jay Smith, I'm sorry, Jay Smith. Sorry, Director D Laird. There we go. Oh, there's Smiths and Lairds and Lepsos and all right. Seeing no further conversation, all in favor? Thank you. Thank you for that presentation, CFO Fox. We will now move into the Cancer Won't Wait final report. We have Advocacy Advisor Kelly. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. It was attached in your agenda packages, but just to highlight some of the things that were in the project closure report from Santis Health, our contractors for the Cancer Won't Wait advocacy campaign. I would say that the campaign was certainly a success. Some key statistics: 59 news articles were written throughout the length of the campaign, which reached over 3 million British Columbians. It also worked to engage thousands of community members, as well as nearly 150 TRHD residents who signed up to be on the mailing list. 3 weeks after the campaign launch, the then Minister of Health, Adrian Dix, visited Kamloops to announce the approved business plan for the new Kamloops Cancer Centre. So, of course, now it's a matter of it going out to RFP and hopefully getting shovels in the ground very soon. So just wanting to make sure that we're keeping it on the radar with government. But I think that, excuse me, we certainly did our job with the campaign. All of the branding and website creation, so all of the infrastructure that was created as part of the campaign will remain property of the TRHD. So we've retained access to the website as well as the mailing list. There were over 200 referrals that came in from social media, meaning that there were over 200 sort of unique interactions with folks. There were a number of patient stories that were collected to share the importance of a cancer center at Royal Inland Hospital. Overall, large media coverage throughout the province for this campaign. We closed off the campaign with the Kamloops Rib Fest and the booth that was at Kamloops Rib Fest. And I think that was a great way to close out the campaign for residents to engage with members of the hospital district and also share the importance of the Cancer Center for residents. So very brief, but if there are any questions from the board, I'd be happy to take them.
Thank you, Manager Kelly. And I would just like to provide a little bit of commentary from our side. There was some things that were discussed publicly yesterday with regards to the Cancer Center and how it may operate and how it may serve our residents going forward. And there were some concerns brought up, and there are concerns to me. I will be reaching out today to be sending a letter to Minister Osborne, new Minister of Health, to discuss these very real concerns. And we look forward to working with the new minister, but also to address some of the things that have been brought up. And it's not something new. They've been brought up by professionals in the past. But again, having a new health minister in place with a fresh set of eyes and a new lens looking at the TRHD and who we serve, and frankly, the only tertiary hospital in British Columbia without a full-fledged cancer center. And I will be addressing some of the concerns that have been brought up by professionals in the community. Do we have a speakers list? Anybody?
Do not have any.
Seeing none. Okay. Thank you. And I do want to mention, sir, now I have Zoom up online, but we have Director Simpson, Director Rasmussen, Director Playfair online with us today. So you are up on our screen now. Thank you. There we go. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Okay. And now we have a Royal Inland Hospital update. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair O'Reilly. Good morning, directors. Chair, joining me today in our Interior Health delegation is Diane Kostachuk, Director of Business Operations. We have our 3 executive directors that support the area. Jerry Desley, Executive Director for Royal Inland Hospital, Kathy Duell, who's our Executive Director for Kamloops Community Mental Health Services, as well as all services in Barrier, Chase, and Logan Lake, and Karen Cooper, who's our Executive Director for Thompson Rural and the Cariboo. Chair, today I'll do an update on first on capital projects. It's our second time doing a 6-month update. Last time we were here was and providing that was in June. And then after that, Jerry and Kathy will do an update on operations from a clinical lens. So I think if we're ready, we could load up my project status report, and I'll guide the board through that. Yep. Thank you. Oh, is there a clicker, or will you just move it forward? There it goes. I'd like to start by recognizing and acknowledging the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Secwepemc Nation. Chair, today, first I'll start off with an update on the Thompson-Nicola Tower project, and then an update on where we're at on the Kamloops Cancer Center, and then do project updates based on each community. So in terms of the Glardy Tower, since I was here last, the post-anesthetic recovery room has opened. The space is available and used for patients as of June 24th, can't see June there. Our new pediatrics area opened up in July 23rd. The ambulance bay phase 2, so the completion of the ambulance bay project was in August. And most recently, the first phase of the new tech emergency department opened up on October 23rd. So looking forward, the remaining milestones to complete the project, the daycare surgery area, we're hoping to have that open up here before Christmas. The public concourse, so the final phase of the main floor, having that open in February. In terms of work in the morgue, phase 1, looking to have that completed in the spring of 2025, which is the bulk of the work, and then phase 2, which will complete the morgue area in September of 2026. The medical imaging and vascular services department, we're working on that. That should be complete in the summer. And then there's 3 more projects to complete, phases 2, 3, and 4 for the tech emergency department. And this next slide kind of describes them. So I know recently many of the directors here were available to come see the new the phase 1 area of the new emergency department. Jerry, when he's up at the screen, up on at the podium, I should say, he'll have some actual pictures there for those that weren't able to attend that. Next summer, phase 2, which is there a, there's not a, no, that one's not it either. I just killed that. Anyway, so at phase 2, at the top, again, is the imaging and vascular department will open next summer, as well as at the very bottom, the mental health services area will open next summer as well, summer of 2025. And then spring of 2026, the completion of what we would call the acute zone, more areas for our patients that come into the emergency department on their own. That'll open in spring of 26. And fall of 2026 will be the final phase, which is the trauma and resuscitation zone, of course, right next door to the ambulance bay. Directors, Ronald McDonald House project. So this project is underway right now on the 3rd floor beside our new pediatrics unit. The Ronald McDonald House Foundation, as well as the Royal Inland Hospital Foundation, have worked together to create a Ronald McDonald House that will have an area for families to a respite area where they can be with their children, be alone, be outside of the unit, but right next door, as well as we'll have a bedroom in this Ronald McDonald House for overnight stays. Construction on this project is underway, hoping to have that completed this winter or winter of 2025. A great addition to the hospital, and a good big thanks on our part to both the Ronald McDonald House Foundation and the Royal Inland Hospital Foundation for bringing this together for us. In terms of the Cancer Center project, really things are still continuing to move through on the procurement side. Just a reminder again, the design build for the new construction on the Westlands will be a fixed price contract, and it'll be a construction management contract for the work that takes place within Royal Inland Hospital. The RFP process with the 2 proponents is still working its way through, looking for completion and final selection in May of 2025, and shovels in the ground in the summer of 2025. The project budget, $359 million. Last July, there was a refresh done to make sure, as we're proceeding with the design work, to check in to see if there's any changes on the estimates. The estimates came back still within our $359 million budget. That work will have to happen again as we get closer to that May 25 selection date. Chair, directors, we will definitely keep the board updated, and in our individual meetings with the CAO and with the chair on how things are progressing. We'll stay in touch on this one. Overall, looking for the new facility, the new construction to be ready in December of 2028, and then the upgrades within Royal Inland Hospital in summer of 29. So moving to updates by community, first starting off with Royal Inland Hospital projects. So last time there was several projects that I advised the board that were completed, so those have dropped off. So really just, again, speaking to projects that are kind of in progress and haven't been completed or weren't complete since I last provided an update. The first one, which is actually a two-phase project for mechanical and electrical upgrades within the South Tower at Royal Inland Hospital in areas that are outside of the patient care tower phase 2 work. $2 million project in total. Work is underway on that with an estimated completion of June of 2026. There is a third phase, which will be incorporated into our funding request letter for 25-26 of another $1.5 million in total to complete that work. The next item is in our laboratory area. One chemistry analyzer and 2 immunochemistry analyzers. This one, directors, goes way back due to procurement and equipment delays from our manufacturers. But we are on our way. We've got the chemistry analyzer in, and we're working on the renovations to put the other 2 analyzers in place in the lab. Completion we're looking at in March. The next project from 1920, the pharmacy renovation to meet the College of Pharmacy standards, really around mixing, so chemotherapy drugs and infusion medicines. That project is now complete. There are some deficiencies related to airflow that we're working through, but the space is in use, and directors moving forward, this project will fall off the report, or will be removed from the report due to its being complete. Below that, some work to do, look at our laboratory after completion of the phase 2 project. This work had, in essence, been delayed because of the delay on the timelines for phase 2. We're back at it. Planning will resume in 25-26, and it's really to address what we need to do in the lab for us to move forward. There's some space adjacent to the lab that will become available when the phase 2 projects complete. So that is our area to expand, but we also have to address the heat issues in our laboratory at the same time. Second from the bottom, replacing of the humidifier system. This one, directors, we've done some work, we've done some design, we've looked at our scope. This project is going to come in over budget. There will be a request as part of our 25-26 funding request letter to address what we really need to do at a minimum in order to address our humidity needs. Certain areas of the hospital, in our surgery, anywhere we're doing surgery or we're doing either ambulatory care where there's evasive procedures, humidity is a big component of the environment that we need to control. Last one on this page is the electrical upgrade planning. That project is complete, and the work that we've done on this actually will inform that phase 3 work on the South Tower mechanical electrical items that I talked about initially. Second page for Royal Inland. The first item on the list is operating room 12 and 13, the movable equipment, a project from 23-24 for $4.7 million. Again, directors, this project allowed us to reopen 2 operating rooms in the old tower to get us from the 11 that we currently have running in the new Glardy Tower up to 13 to meet demands and volumes and the needs of our patients. When we moved all of the operating rooms into the new tower, the equipment that could be moved went there into the new tower, into those new rooms. So we had to re-equip anesthetic machines and monitoring systems in that space. They've been up and running. Directors, what will happen next year is in the Glardy Tower, our temporary PAR area that has now moved into its permanent location in a renovated area in the old tower will now become available for us to move OR 12 and 13 back into the new tower adjacent to the 11 ORs that we have at that time. And there'll be a request in 25-26 for what we call the fixed equipment, the stuff that hangs from the ceiling in order to complete that work. And there's actually a large contribution from the Royal Inland Hospital Foundation as part of moving OR 12 and 13 into the Glardy Tower, its final location. They're providing all the imaging equipment for those operating rooms as part of that. Next item, heat recovery chiller. This is an item from the current year. We're working through the design procurement on that, expecting that to go out in January with an estimated completion date of March 26. Next one below that, one of our HVAC handling units. This, can't see it with the screen there. This will provide a dedicated unit for airflow in pharmacy outside of those mixing areas. And that project, we're looking to complete that in September of 2025. We're going through the design development on that one. Second last, a dedicated space for pharmacy consultation. Work is on that way, and we should have a schedule to when it should be completed at my next update. And the last item for Royal Inland Hospital is a renovation in our endoscopy suite where we do gastroscopies and colonoscopies, the reprocessing, the cleaning of that equipment. That's a large project, and we're looking to have that design the RFP for the design work on that out in January with a March 26th completion date. Looking at projects in Kamloops outside of Royal Inland Hospital, the long-term care facility business plan, looking at long-term care needs and the condition of both Ponderosa and Overlander and how we move forward. This project has been paused as we're waiting for, in essence, the ministry to give us the green light to proceed on that. So no work has taken place on that one to date. The second one in Kamloops in the long-term care area is the emergency generator and transfer switch at Ponderosa, which needs to be replaced. Can't wait for the first line. And we're looking at doing our quoting for that in January of 26 with an estimated completion of January 27. In the community primary care mental health services in Kamloops community, first item is our mental health and substance use central hub. Consolidating a lot of our services for those patients and those clients in our building on Lansdowne. It's a tenant improvement project. We're moving forward on that. I don't have a completion date on here, but I've since got further information. We should have that work completed in summer of 25. The second item, the Kamloops North Shore and Urgent Primary Care Center. This project is complete. It was opened in November 2024. Again, I believe some directors have seen that space. There was an announcement that went out when it opened in November, and Kathy and Jerry will have some further pictures on that as part of their presentation. Last one for Kamloops in the community area is the expansion of the South Shore Urgent Primary Care Center, which is on Columbia Street, below on the main floor above or below the parkade. Similarly, we're working with the ministry on the expansion opportunity with the lease space that's no longer doesn't have a restaurant in anymore. We'll have hopefully further updates on that one at the next time we're at the board. Moving to Ashcroft, Barrier, Chase, and Clearwater projects. So in Ashcroft, we have one project that is underway. It's an access control system or a key card system for both staff security and for maintaining flow in the building. That project, the installation work is underway and hoping to have that complete in March. At Barrier, replacement of the X-ray system. That project, as well as a similar project for Clearwater, we have the equipment on order for both sites, both Barrier and Clearwater. There's a long delay in order to get that information or to get that equipment in. Barrier it'll be the same equipment, so it'll be some synergies there. But for Barrier, looking at August to have that complete. Looking at Chase, two projects that were completed there this fall. Again, an access control system, and in conjunction with that, a staff duress system. It's kind of the badge system that we have in place. Both of those were completed in the fall. At Clearwater, an upgrade to the heat system. That project, we've got the design work, looking to start construction soon with a November 25 completion. And then finally for Clearwater, again, a replacement of the X-ray system. This project will be part of our request letter for 2025-26, but we've actually ordered the equipment in conjunction with Barrier. In Lillooet, several projects there. First one, replacement of the operating room doors, not quite $100,000. The estimates for the equipment and installation came in quite higher than what we expected, so we're looking at alternatives there. We believe we can do this work at $99,000. We just need to find the right contractor. So more to come on that, and we don't have a completion date at this time. Similarly, for the humidity system at that hospital, we've procured it a couple times and no bids come back. We're working on a third round on an invitational basis. And again, we believe we can do the project in this price, but we just need to find the right contractor for that. The X-ray system replacement in Lillooet is well underway at 70% basically in terms of the construction, looking to have that completed in January. On the elevator upgrade, That project, we've got the design work, design completed. We're looking at doing the mechanical work and getting that scheduled. It's basically replacing the motors and the control system for that elevator. And we hope to have that done in May. The nurse call system at Lillooet. This project, the design is complete. Similarly, we're not able to do the work that we need to do within the original budget that we requested. We will be requesting an increase for this one in 25-26 based on having that Class A final estimate available to do that work. Second last for Lillooet, the access system to the penthouse burner. That project has been awarded. We have all our permits in place and we should expect to have that one done in March. And the last one for Lillooet is in the emergency room, the medication area, replacing all the mill work and the counter, going to stainless steel and so forth. That project is starting in January for our first phase, and then there'll be there'll have to be a pause while we do some shifting around and then complete the work in the spring, looking for June 25 completion. 2 projects in Merritt. First one, replacement of the chiller. We've got the scope of work done and we are going out, if I flip on the right way here. And we're going out to tender on that one as we speak, hoping to have that complete in May of 26. And the second project for Merritt which is renovation of the patient bathrooms. This is phase 1 or 4 of the 8 rooms that we have available. That we're going to invitation to quote on that early in January with a completion date of October of 2025. And then in the 25-26, we're looking at to do the second phase of it to complete all 8 bathroom renovations required at NVH. Chair, directors, that is my update on projects. There's a lot of information there. Is there any questions?
Thank you. That was quite an update. Certainly a lot going on in the area, and I think greatly appreciated from all the directors to see everything that's going on around us. So thank you, Director Mastel. So first up, we have Councillor Bass.
Thank you. Thanks for the information. The seniors advocate announced recently that seniors really don't want to be on Island Health right now because of the long wait list to get into long-term care. I'm wondering what it's like for IH.
Kathy, what wait list to get into long-term care? Can you give an update or do you need to come back on that?
Yeah, we can come back.
I can wait for her report if that's easier.
Okay.
Yeah, but I am keenly interested in that.
Thank you, Director Laird.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a question about the new X-ray machine that was supposed to be going into Merritt last year. I'm told it's over $1 million for renovations, but I didn't see anything on there about it being done. There seems to be no activity going into putting in the new X-ray machine. I know that there was a portable machine bought by the local hospital foundation, which they use everywhere in the hospital now, but we do not have any X-ray machine. And the last time we had this discussion, you said you would look and see where it's at, and it doesn't appear to be anything happening. Thank you.
Director Mastel.
We are making it work. We have many X-ray machines that are approaching end of life, and that we're able to continue to make them operational best we can. We've got 3 on the go right now with the work in Lillooet just about complete. Barrier and Clearwater, we need to move because we have functionality issues there that we can't mitigate in the long term. I will check back again and see if we can come up with an estimate on when when Merritt will be replaced.
Supplemental.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. From what I understand, this equipment was funded 2 years ago and nothing's happened. I'm a little concerned. Will it ever happen? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Director Getz. Thank you. Any further questions? Oh, Councillor Sarai, did you still have one or not really?
Thank you, Chair. I did have a question. I think it'll be answered by another staff, but if you want, I can answer it, ask it now. There's a presentation here last year by a delegation on the STEPS program that was going to, they had the staff, the support staff, and they had I think a location identified, but they were looking for long-term funding to make it viable. Is that come to your attention as anything you can share with us?
I don't have anything, but I think maybe Jerry or Kathy might be able to touch on that when they come up right in behind me.
Thank you. Director Laird.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was wondering if you could provide to myself and Mayor Getz exactly where this X-ray machine is at, the fact that it's been paid for. I hear rumors and I talk to some of the staff, and I'm very disappointed in the performance that's happened to date. It's a 2-year project and nothing's gone forward. I'm a little concerned. Could you report back to me what your exact schedule is on when this is going to be installed and if the equipment is sitting waiting to be installed? Thank you.
Thank you. I assume you guys took note of that and we'll hear back. Thank you. Okay, seeing no further questions, thank you very much for that update. I think this is exactly what the board was asking for a year ago, and by getting this every 6 months, it'll really help us with our residents to inform them what's going on in their communities as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, directors, and Jerry and Kathy will come up next. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jerry Desley. I'm the Executive Director at Royal Inland Hospital. I'll give a quick update, mostly just kind of pictorials of what we've seen with our emergency department. I know some got to visit it, but I think it's nice to see our new location. So again, I would like to acknowledge that I am a resident of Kamloops and I am very happy to be an uninvited guest living here in the unceded territory of the Kamloops Tishoukapen, and I take great honor in living in this land. So I just want to be very thankful for that. So there's some pictures of our new tech emergency department, phase 1B. This is the largest phase that really our public is getting to enjoy right now. The new entrance, still some work to do on the left hand and the right hand side, new entranceway. And when the entranceway is done, there will be a straight path from our parkade on the second floor straight through to emergency. So people will no longer have to go downstairs and outside, and it's very confusing still. So they're all very excited for that being completed in the next, I think that's early March, most likely. This is some before pictures and after pictures. On the left is what triage used to look like, and on the right is what it currently looks like. Much better access, much obviously renovated, clean, still have the old skylights that are in there, so nice and natural light, and it's very efficient moving patients now in through the triage area into emerge. And these are our waiting rooms. So the old waiting rooms on the left, again, very small area, and to the new nice and beautiful new ones there. And the big thing with the waiting areas is we try to get people out of triage waiting area into actually the inpatient area or into the emergency area. So you're moving through this. And the thing I'll say about the way this works is this is very engaged with our physicians and our staff to really look at what worked well at Nanaimo when they rebuilt it and what we could do for that. And they have said, and they say with very large smiles, that what they planned is actually happening. So people are moving through emergency very, very quickly and moving so they're not all sitting in that beginning thing at the triage bay waiting to get into emerge. So it really speeds things up, and the teams are very, very happy with what that looks like. Former care team station, you can see similar that there's still the glass panels. That's good privacy between the staff that are working. So there's a bit more privacy, and if they're dictating, it's easier for them to do. But again, beautiful new bright space for our staff to work in. And again, the exam bays, the one missing on the left is the fact there used to be curtains around all of those areas. So you can imagine there would have been probably 5 patients in that space, separated by curtains, zero privacy, zero opportunities to have a private conversation with a physician to share what's happening or with the nursing staff. Now the new rooms there, it's a little bit blocked for the people, but they're private rooms. There is the walls on all of them with sliding doors. So if a private conversation needs to happen about your health, that can occur in that space. The other thing is it's much more infection control standards with actually separation with, curtains cannot keep viruses out. So it is much safer for patients and a much more welcoming space to receive care in. This is the North Shore primary care, so I'll just go back to this for a second. And I think just a huge appreciation for what's gone into this. We're not done with this yet, but this is changing how care is provided in emergency department. You know, no one wants to get care in curtain spaces and no one wants to provide care in that space. As we have seen an influx of agency nurses come to our site to really help our emergency staff. And with that, we have new staff coming back to work because it's not as hard. And working in a beautiful new space does change that, providing care in a location. And as I said, if you talk to Dr. Alan Vukasek, who's our department head, the team is so happy with what it did, and our wait times are decreasing. The actual flow through the emergency department has improved probably 200%. And the bulk of our patients we see roughly 217 patients per day right now at Royal Inland Hospital. About 85% of those will go through the new area. So that's streaming. That's when you come in for a hurt ankle, you need to get some x-rays, things like that. So 85% of our patients are going through that. We've seen decreased wait times, people going through faster. So the amount of effort that went into that, and obviously the funds that supported that, but the fact that it was purpose-built by physicians, by staff to create a space that works, and we've shown that it is successful. So just wanted to, thank all of you for being part of that and getting us to where we need to be. And we will see those advancements at every phase that goes forward. So it's really great. And then quickly, this is the North Shore Urgent Primary Care Center, located in North Hills Mall. It's open November 26th in a phased approach. And it's units 21, 22, and its hours are from 7:30 to 6:30 p.m. My understanding there is some walk-in appointments too, so it's not all by call trying to get an appointment. But that's another great new space that allows more patients within Kamloops and the surrounding areas to get care with the North Shore and South Shore locations. And that was basically it. I want to take you through some, and now happy to answer some questions for any of us around operations or things we might want to discuss.
Thank you very much for that. And I think a lot of our directors around here had the opportunity to tour the new ER and the wards upstairs. And it was, I don't want to say beautiful because hospitals aren't beautiful, but it was as close as can be. So thank you for that update. Do we have any questions as to where we're at? Director Bass.
Since I criticize, I also like to praise. I was in the old part of the ER on Monday with my son. Your staff are amazing. I was uncomfortable listening to a doctor discussing with one of the patients surrounded by a curtain end of life care. And I was constantly bumped by a guy who was on a stretcher in the hallway, but the staff just kept going. And every time, I'm in there a lot with my son, every time I'm there, I am stunned at how they just keep going. So thank you for creating an environment where they just, in that chaos, they do wonders.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Bass. Councillor or Director Carbuck.
Thank you for that, Chair. Couple of comments, I guess. I also had the opportunity to go through there, although not as a guest to experience it, but as a patient, unfortunately, back in November with what determined was, I guess, bronchial pneumonia. So, and laryngitis. I found it very odd to be not able to communicate as I am right now. I brought a pen and paper, actually ran into another former member of this board who happened to be in there at the same time. Both of us had a great experience. It is a wonderful addition to our healthcare community. Having lived here for 50 years and seen iterations that we've changed over the years, it's a nice site. Just a couple of comments as a healthcare professional myself. We don't call them waiting rooms. We call them reception areas. And it's a different connotation. And I think I see this constantly. We have waiting areas and it has a really negative effect on people. So just a suggestion, call it an area where you receive patients. It's a reception area. It changes the tone of which it is when people come in their mindset, and get rid of the clock. Because when people are sitting there, that's all they're watching. And I see that in your picture. And that was what I was told in school, get rid of the clocks in your receiving area. So just a fantastic job and well done by everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Director Carbuck. Any further questions? No. Thank you. I believe there's one more presentation, more on an operational side, or are we good? That's everything? Oh.
We'll do the slides.
No, I didn't have a presentation. just wanted to share about the UPCC, and we just didn't think it made sense for both of us to switch out. But I can't answer the long-term care question that you raised. So with long-term care, I think you'll remember from my presentation last time I was here, there's a number of factors. So it really depends on what level of risk, what area you live in, what your preferred or your interim care home selection is, because patients generally get a choice. And so there's a lot of factors that go into how long you're having to wait for long-term care. Luckily, the power of technology, I was able to reach out in Interior Health. The average is a little less than 6 months. So it's 5.5 months to get in. But if somebody's in the community as an intolerable risk, they're going to get in much quicker. And so part of the reason that we have a really clear process is so that we can get people into care as soon as they need it when they hit that stage. We do everything we can to keep people at home because home is best. And so we'll enhance services to keep people at home. And when they're no longer safe to be at home, we'll move very quickly to get them into care. So that is the length of time it takes. And I can say in Kamloops, we're doing very well because we have the brand new Sun Rivers opened, which is the additional 100 beds. And we've got it half full so far. Half full so far, yes.
Thank you very much.
Other question about STEPS? Yes. So STEPS is a community health center, and that is actually funded through the ministry. So that is not something that flows through Interior Health. So I can't really speak to that funding. What I can speak to, the other half of their funding is through the primary care network. And so our PCN funding got announced from the ministry. I'm thinking it was about 4 months ago. I can't remember exactly what it was. And so that funding will be flowing to STEPS. And so, but I'm sure they'd be happy to come back and speak to where they're at.
Thank you for that. That was a great presentation by everybody here from IH today, and I think put a lot of smiles on the people's faces around the table. We will move on to Director Laird.
Sorry, I just remembered that I had to also ask about the local hospital foundation is offering to fund a substantial amount of money for the new X-ray install. They're having very difficult times even communicating with anybody from IHA with what they're prepared to donate from their foundation. They've tried for quite a while now and they're getting basically nowhere. So I would appreciate it if you would get a hold of the foundation and find out how much money they're prepared. I think it's in the thousands of dollars. I think around 400,000 or 500,000 that they're offering, and they have no communication and no response to the request. I'm a little disappointed in that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Laird, and I see a lot of head nodding going on the back corner there. So, and we actually have Director Getz as well with a closing comment.
Thank you. Just Kathy and Karen, just a question. Our housing inventory where we have offered doctors and nurses free of charge trailers to stay in. I've talked to several doctors who've come up. It's not in your inventory. Could you possibly get that in the inventory so when they do call that they know there's a place to stay? I had a conversation with the new Minister of Health yesterday and I've let her know that's there. I've let her know some other things that we have available to help us, help you, help us. So if we could get that into the inventory so doctors and nurses know they have a place to stay free of charge as a part of our, and it's furnished. All they've got to do is show up with a smile and, do their work. But I'd like that in the inventory so we can move forward, please. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. All right, moving on, new business. Seeing none, we have a recommendation in front of us. Moved by Director Middleton, second by Director Stanky. Thank you. All in favor to move into closed? Opposed, if any? Thank you. We will reconvene in 10 minutes.